Oh, yeah. Good morning, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2019. 34 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagle, your morning mayor in the house. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane.
Yes, and today's special because we have the God Squad in
We have
today.
the God Squad's in at 8 o'clock today for their monthly visit. So we got a lot to talk about, boys. Been church bombings and shootings and everything like that. So, both sides of the Muslim side, the Christian side. So, boy, I don't know. We got a lot to talk about today with those folks. So we'll see if they have their own topic or if they'll entertain that one. So,
That's right, exactly.
We'll see. But anyway, that'll be coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. And, our weather, Shane,
Love this story. I love this story every day. This is great. Okay, what is it, Mayor? Come on.
Well,
let us have it.
It sucks. Today doesn't suck too bad. It's going to be 58 degrees, 39 the overnight low, and mostly sunny. But tomorrow, during daylight hours, it's nonstop rain all day tomorrow. And as I told you, I'm having some folks come out to clean the yard from the,
Yeah, right.
99% chance of rain when they're there. 99% chance of rain. And about a half inch of rain expected.
There you go. So, do they have a lawnmower that cuts wet grass?
No, they're not there to mow. They're there to clean.
That's even better. That's better.
Yeah, they got to clean up after the two dogs all winter long. So, it may be waist deep. I don't know, but anyway. On Friday, 51 degrees will be the high, 32 the overnight low, and rain. As I said, virtually all of the daylight hours, we're going to get some kind of rain somewhere. So be prepared for that for your morning commute or your evening home. Saturday, 57 degrees, 27 the overnight low, mostly cloudy, less than an inch of precip there. The rain goes away, and then it comes back on Sunday with a mixture of rain and snow showers predicted, less than an inch. 36 will be the high, a little warm or a little cool, and 20 the overnight low. So, we're going to get some low temperatures in there, but there's snow all through there. And then on Monday, 38 degrees, 26 the overnight low, and mixtures of rain and snow all day, but less than an inch. And then we've got 1 to 3 inches of snow predicted on Tuesday, 38 degrees, 27 the overnight low, 1 to 3 inches predicted, and that will continue into Wednesday, high of 42, low of 24, and less than an inch. And then the rain and snow moves out, and sunny weather comes in next Thursday. So, holy mackerel.
There you go.
What a great week, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you love April?
April showers.
Yeah,
bring me flowers. Who believes that? You do.
Yeah, well, they bring May buds, what they bring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Livingston right now is 34 in Clare. Manhattan is 32. Three Forks is 33 degrees. Gallatin Gateway is 34. Ennis is 32 degrees right now. Gardner, 28. Big Sky is 23 degrees. And at the airport in Belgrade, it is right at freezing at 32 degrees. We're at 34 here at our lavishly appointed downtown studios in beautiful Bozeman, Montana. So by all means, get out and enjoy today because you're going to need your umbrella probably or your snowshoes for the rest of the week. So we'll see what happens.
Don't be too eager to put that snow shovel away at those
temperatures. I know. Yeah. I haven't put the snowblower away just yet. So
no.
I gotta say, if you've been here any length of time, you've seen snow at every month of the year. So
of course, yeah.
So, all right. This day in history: 1792, highwayman Nicholas Jacques Pelletier became the first person under French law to be executed by what, Shane?
Oh, the guillotine.
The guillotine, actually.
Okay, the guillotine, because I don't speak French. Okay,
I know.
It's my fault.
Right.
And I'm a Canadian. Okay, grind.
Well, I'm older and more educated. Guillotine.
Well, of course you are. Yeah. That's why you're the mayor. I'm just the assistant.
Okay. Well, yeah, that became the weapon of choice, execution. I'm not sure why we didn't use it in America. We liked hanging. I guess it was cheaper to get a rope and throw it over a tree, huh?
Ooh, what a terrible thought. So so on the night of October 14th, 1791, Peltier was arrested for robbery in the suburbs of Paris and immediately sent to jail. He was assigned to an attorney at the time, and he was found guilty of assault, robbery, and sentenced to death. So, he's thinking, oh, this isn't good. So he decides to get a different lawyer, which he does. He gets another court date, and 24th of December, 1791. And the second criminal court confirmed by Judge Moreau, one of the most infamous and famous judges of the period of the Revolution. Now, you may wonder why I'm telling you this. Well, you talk about cruel and inhumane. So while this is happening for him, the National Assembly, the newly elected National Assembly, made decapitation the only legal method of capital punishment.
Oh, good.
But the only thing they had was guys with big hatchets, except a doctor in Strasbourg, which is in the Austro-Prussian Empire at the time, said, "Oh, I've got an idea," but it took him some time to figure it out. Surgeon Antony Lewis. At the cost of 38 lives, he mastered the guillotine.
38 lives.
Yeah.
What, you just call people at random and, hey, you want to test this out?
I don't know. I didn't dive that deep to find out it got bad after this. So anyway,
wow.
the National Assembly agrees to use the guillotine, and of course it is sent to Paris, where in the square on the 24th of January. 1792, a third criminal court confirmed the execution, and wham, down dropped on April 25th, 1792, the guillotine, and away rolled Nicholas's head, because he hadn't used the basket concept.
I was wondering about the basket. Do they have the basket there yet? Or?
No, that was when it got real busy.
Okay, right. Well, in 1859, another big day, ground was broken for the Suez Canal. Quite a accomplishment there, because before that you had to travel around some pretty nasty water at the bottom of South America.
That's right.
The straits down there were always kind of stormy and nasty and choppy
and
Africa, whatever. Yeah.
Down around Africa. So it was, it was a lengthy trip. It was, it cut the trip by 1/10. So 193 miles long, or 120 miles long, 193 kilometers, 120 miles. But here's the sticky part. The maximum boat beam was 254 feet, 3 inches, and the draft is 66 feet. So 66 feet is not very wide, right?
No, it isn't, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there were no draft. The great thing about the Suez Canal, no locks.
You just floated through there, huh?
You just floated through because it was desert, baby. Desert.
Wow. All right.
Suez Canal Company was the original owner. Constructed as 25th September 1859 began, and 17th of November 1869 it was completed, and it created a huge, cost for Britain. At today's prices, $8.4 billion. But
wow.
A number of companies went bankrupt because the issues that they had with it at the time and the problems getting it financed. So. But it got done. It's one of those amazing things, imagination.
Still used today, and
still in use today. Widened.
We owned it for a number of years and gave it away.
Oh, that was the Panama Canal. Come on.
Oh, the Panama Canal. Oh, this is the Suez Canal. Oh, you're right. That's the Panama Canal. I'm thinking of.
Anyway, 17,220 vessels go through the canal today, about 50 per day, 47 to 50 per day. So there you go.
All right. Well, in 1874, radio pioneer Guglielmo Marconi was born.
Just say Marconi.
Yeah, Marconi was born in Bologna, Italy, and we're still using his board, the original one, here in KMMS.
the first marquee of Marconi, Italy, because at that time Italy was a kingdom.
Yeah.
Well, actually, a grouping of city-states, but at that time it was, being combined into a kingdom under one king.
Yeah.
And it later became a country, but not until after the Second World War, which is quite amazing.
Yeah.
He was a pretty interesting guy. 25th of April, 1874. He was born 1874. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
He died 20th of July, 1937. And, he didn't get, full recognition for it right away.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
There's a lot of people were fighting about it, but he did end up with the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1909, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He had several other prizes. And after several years of arguing with several other people claiming to have invented it, he got the benefit and still died broke. But,
yeah. Well, of course, we all know what Bologna, Italy is famous for. That would be Spam. Right?
Yeah, pineapple flavored.
There you go. All right, 1898, the United States declared war on Spain. Why not? We weren't doing anything on that day, so what the heck? Let's have a Spanish-American war. What the heck, huh?
Well, it's just like we said yesterday, because it was in the news yesterday for in history. But the end result is Mexico loses 55% of its size to the United States. Of all the things I discovered reading about all this, once again, that was the biggest one that jumped out at me. So they want it back. That's why they're coming.
That's right. Well, in 1901, New York, somebody there decided, hey, we can make money off these automobiles. So they became the first state to require automobile license plates. So
yes, it's just one of these things where, you look at the state like this, and of course, everyone certainly on the right side of your political, spectrum thinks it's one of the most corrupt states. And he did along like his father wanted governor wanted to run for president. Yeah. But it's the large cities we all know as New York. Width is 285 miles, 330 miles long. Its population, 19,542,000, of which 11 million live in New York City. So there you go.
All right. We got to take a break. Believe it or not, Montana News and Agriculture is back. So we got to take care of our farmers, ranchers, truck drivers, cab drivers, whoever is out there. Hey, if you got clothes on your back, food on your table, and a shot of whiskey somewhere, thank a farmer, thank a rancher, thank a truck driver, thank a cab driver for taking you home. All right. We'll be right back right after Montana News and Agriculture and, of course, words from Babel. So stay tuned. All right, it's 35 minutes or 24 minutes after the hour, 35 minutes till the top of the hour, I guess.
Yes.
Hey, I've got a bigger board here. I can read the actual day and everything, Shay. It's pretty cool. Thursday, April 25th, 2019. That's easy to read. 35 degrees outside. I'm excited.
You should be.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting our other monitor back here soon. So, gosh, things may be more back to normal than always. But I'm excited. We've got the Montana News and Agriculture back, and Montana State News.
Your favorite national commercials.
That's right. Yeah, well, we got that coming up, too. So, 1915, Allied soldiers invaded the Gallipoli Peninsula in an unsuccessful attempt to take the Ottoman Turkish Empire out of World War I.
Yes, and the outstanding reason for this on this days in history was, at the time, Britain's first Lord of the Admiralty was Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
And he constructed and went through with and actually pushed this through the Admiralty to do. And it was an absolute failure. They were surrounded on the shore. They fought admirably for several days and then were eventually captured. And it took, obviously Winston Churchill's reputation took a hit. And it took him like 10 years, 20 years to recover before World War II. So
yeah,
another case of someone, knocked down and got up and now it's regarded as
and learn from their mistake.
That's right.
As well.
He didn't. There you go.
All right, 1945 on this date, delegates from some 50 countries met in San Francisco to organize the United Nations. And boy, we've been going downhill ever since with that organization.
Oh, have we ever? I mean, and when you look at it in the context of size and global involvement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a staggering thing. I mean, it's taken basically 100 years to get to where it is, and of course, the U.S. always decided the U.S. decided early they wanted to have an influence in it, which is why they allowed New York City to become the seat for the United Nations.
Yeah.
But Brussels is basically the seat of all the major agencies of the United Nations. So
yeah,
there you go.
Well, it was I don't know, the the Security Council, the 5 nations there, and 3 of them don't like us. So
Well, that's right.
we're kind of the Supreme Court of liberals, I guess, or whatever. So anyway, 1959, the St. Lawrence Seaway opened to shipping. So big day there. I don't know why they didn't ship there before, but who knows?
Well, because it wasn't a wide enough canal.
Oh.
So there you go. Then, and
they were through with the Suez, so they came over here. Huh?
All right. So the northeast of the United States was big because they wanted access to the Great Lakes, which gave them access eventually to the great cities of Detroit and so forth for building cars. So, a lot of minerals came down, coal came down through this transport line, and it was inexpensive because it was barged.
Yeah. I don't know how they got over that Niagara Falls, but I
guess, sort of roll in a barrel.
I guess, they put the coal in a barrel, huh?
They put everything in a barrel.
Right. 1972, the Polaroid Corporation introduced its SX70 folding camera, which ejected self-developing portraits. And I think everybody in the probably listening to us that's over 60 had one.
Well, it's one of these, buggy whip companies that we talk about, right?
Oh, yeah.
An amazing company. It was created in 1937 by Edward Land, and it was worldwide. In Minnesota, another, like the 3M company. It's interesting how some states have so many interesting things. But, with the advent of the cell phone and, the automatic camera, it's made a huge difference. At its peak, they employed 21,000 people, and they had revenue of $3 billion a year.
All right.
And now gone can be as of 2001, bankrupt.
Yeah. We got to get out here and take a break. 12 years ago on this date, 2007, the Dow Industrial was 13,000. Now it's double that 12 years later. So there you go.
Got to talk about that.
Yeah, we do. All right, we got to pay some bills. We got Montana State News. We've got Brooke Foster weather, and we've got a Noxatril commercial as well. So we'll be right back. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2019, 35 degrees outside. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house, and Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And our poll question today, Shane, suggested by one of our listeners, should prisoners have the right to vote? Should prisoners have the right to vote? Bernie says yes, and I don't know. They're all going along here. The bombers in Boston, let them vote. I don't know. Sirhan, is he still hanging around? Yeah, let him vote too. So all these ne'er-do-wells and murderers, rapists, child molesters, whatever, absolutely. I'm not sure how they would work that, Shane, because you've got. Would it be like college where you vote where you are, or you're sent to, you're sent to Sing Sing, but you're from, Arizona.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, do you vote in Arizona or do you vote, or is this, and what about campaigns? Is Bernie going to go to Folsom with Johnny Cash if he was still alive?
I know, but I'll tell you who will go is CNN.
CNN? You think CNN will go to the prisons and
they're going to talk? Look, they want to talk to the worst possible people in prison they can to find out who they're going to vote for.
Okay. Now is is CNN the news? I assume they don't have 500 channels. Maybe they do. I don't know. It's probably it's a constitutional deal if they don't have everything that everybody else has. But I'm thinking if they're subjected to CNN and MSNBC all day.
Yeah, but what a desperate way to get more votes.
Well, yeah, and I guess there's no guarantee they're all going to vote. There are some white supremacists in prison.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm not sure they're going to vote for Bernie, a Jew.
I don't think so. No, yeah.
Not sure that's going to happen. So I don't know what's going to. Well, it's silly to talk about it because it ain't going to happen.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
Although there are a couple of states, Maine and Vermont, Bernie's home state, that do allow prisoners to vote. So there are 2 states that do it. So, this.
Well,
that's
why these poll numbers to me are so important because my feeling, because you've done such a great job at following the polls, but my feeling is I explained the other day, 32% hardcore Republican, 33.5% hardcore Democrat, and the independents, the people in the middle, making up 35% of the electorate or people that'll vote, are who's going to decide the election. And if Trump's up 7 to 9%, it's the middle that he's taking it from. I mean, he's getting that support from the middle class because the hard left isn't going to vote for him, but the hard right will. So, I think that they don't want to talk about it in these terms because they know that this is the way they view it. And that, so the stronger he gets, it's not about him getting to 50%.
Yeah.
You mean, it's not, I mean, the last one that ever sustained that was George Bush Sr. Remember when he got over like 70% because of the war in Kuwait and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah. And that didn't last very long.
No, and he lost.
And it doesn't. Yeah, and he lost. And he lost the election 18 months later. So.
Well, yeah, everyone read his lips.
Yeah, no new taxes, but guess what? You're getting new taxes. So, well, I heard this morning, of course, we're going to talk a little bit later about Biden getting into the race, but they mentioned that if the race were held today, Biden had about an 8-point on Trump. And so
did Hillary, supposedly, right?
Well, whatever. But Biden does have the name recognition. It'll depend on how he works with all this left stuff, because he's always been kind of a moderate. I mean, on some things, but did vote to get in the Iraq War, did vote for some questionable things along the way that he's going to have to account for. But he's run twice before, so these questions have come up. It's not like this is all going to be new stuff. So,
well, at the Kavanaugh hearings and everything, he was head of the Judiciary Committee when another great judge on your Supreme Court went through this
Clarence
issue.
Thomas, yeah.
That's right. And he didn't do a very good job there. That's all on video. I mean, all of this is on video. That's the problem he's got.
Well, yeah, that's where we are. So. All right, we got to take another quick break. No Noxitril, nothing but babble to offend you. So we'll be right back. All right, it's 16 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, April 25th, 2019, 34 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And you're listening to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And, the county kind of blew it, Shane. They got an F for short-term pollution in our valley. That's not good. I think I moved here from California to get away from pollution, and that's what followed me up here, I guess. So, anyway, out of 13 Montana counties charted, 12 received an F, and the one standout was Yellowstone County with a D. So...
And there's no one there.
Yeah.
But there's nobody in Yellowstone County.
Well, I know. That's the whole thing. It must be the buffalo, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't graduated to electric cars yet, so.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But they're
making too many pies.
Yeah. Well, you lived in Denver, which had a pretty nasty pollution. I mean, they're a mile above sea level, about like we are, but They had
that's
a
right.
pretty
I'd say,
nasty air pollution at one time, and maybe still do. I don't
oh,
know.
they still do. It's
Yeah.
even worse because it's in a.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you in a valley,
Yeah, we're in a
and
valley surrounded by mountains. There's nothing to
that's
take
right.
the pollution out unless we get a,
Windstorm
big
or
windstorm
heavy
of some
right.
kind, or
Yeah,
rain
that's
takes
right.
it out, or one or the other. So yeah, the more people move into the valley, the more automobiles we have, the more trucks, the more
Mhm.
tractors, and all that stuff. So yeah, yeah, our pollution
And
is getting to the point where it's not good.
that's right. And as you know, low and high formations of clouds make a big difference. So if you live in an
Mhm.
area where there's a lot of low formations of cloud, low temperature,
Yeah.
it holds it in, and that's the big trouble, right?
Yeah.
You need that high temperature,
Mhm.
high level movement in the sky for it to lift it out and suck it over the mountains into the prairies.
There you are.
Into the prairies.
From our text line, 478-8298, Yellowstone County is in Billings. Well, I think we were talking about Yellowstone, the city, not Yellowstone, the county.
All right. Well, maybe it's Yellowstone County, Billings, Montana. There you go.
Well, I don't know.
That would make sense. There
Yeah,
you go. So,
well, it could be. They got a lot of people over there. So,
yeah, they do. Yeah,
And
your
it-
sister city.
and another another text from one of our Biden supporters, hair sniffer. So
Oh,
there you are. So yeah, he's gonna be plagued with that one for a while, I think. So we'll see how that how that goes. But
well,
it's gonna
Crazy
be
Gate's going to
yeah.
Crazy Gate's going to come back on him big time.
Yeah.
You wait and see. Yeah, that this is.
Yeah, we were talking about Yellowstone County. They get a D over in Billings, and so yeah, there's a lot of people in there. So, but yeah, nothing to brag about there. At least that you got a D.
That's right.
Well, more than 141 million people, or about 4 in 10 Americans, live in counties with poor air quality. That's 7 million more than last year's report. There's no clearer sign that we're facing new challenges than air pollution levels that have broken records tracked for the past 20 years. So, well, it's I don't know. It's one of those.
Well, it's one of those things. It's just
Yeah.
one of those things that just naturally occurs. It's a natural cycle in the weather pattern. I mean, they call it climate change, but it's not really. It's just a natural cycle.
Mhm.
And Montana is similar, but it's on. It's in the foothills, but it's a valley itself with the Yellowstone River going through. I mean, it's an amazing canyon when you see it. And but again, you're dealing with temperature changes that cause the air pollution and the population, of course.
Yeah. Well, and the other day, let's see. Yeah, we're okay on time, aren't we? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Never mind. Okay. I
No,
thought I miscounted my time there.
No, that's
but,
cool.
yeah,
That's cool.
we're okay.
I just want to make an observation about
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
Chronicle.
Sure.
So I always notice how they cut off people's foreheads. And this young lady from Missoula that's coming as the commissioner that they've hired
Mm-hmm.
for a new role in Gallatin County, which we have to ask that expert commissioner about.
Yeah.
It's a nice picture, and they have her forehead cut off. It's like, what she got, unibrows or something? Like, that's how low they cut it off. Then I took notice that they cut everybody's foreheads off on that picture.
Well, it's not on the paper anyway. So.
No.
Yeah.
It's just online.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I'm getting away from where I want to be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's see. Well, we talked about the 911 center and the unions the
Yes.
other day, that they have no faith in the 911 center and whatever. And in response to concern raised by Bozeman police and fire unions over the county's 911 center, Gallatin County said Wednesday it would not engage with city employees and called the union's management demands inappropriate. In a letter from Jim Dorr, county administrator, and addressed to Bozeman city manager Andrea Surratt, Dorr wrote that the interim 9/11 director reports to him. Dorr also wrote that the current director, Jim Anderson, has his full support and the support of Gallatin County commissioners, and that he wouldn't place an arbitrary deadline on Anderson's term. So this is a personal decision under my direction, and I expect city employees under your direction will extend the professional courtesy of respecting that. So That's
Well,
that.
doesn't that sound? I mean, what a way to argue over wanting more money.
Yeah. 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 You're a bad person. You're a badder
Yeah.
person. Pay me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, the Boy Scouts are on the verge of going bankrupt, Shane. I don't know if
Wow.
you heard that the other day, but
Yeah, but what a surprise!
Yeah.
Of course they have, because people have walked away from it, right? With all the
yeah,
changes that have been, they felt they've been forced to accept, and when you make these choices, like we say, good choices,
yeah, well,
good outcome, bad choices, bad choices, bad outcome. So.
well, Montana's first all-girl Scouts BSA troop launches in Bozeman. More than 8,000 girls nationally have signed up for Scouts BSA. Some 77,000 girls joined Cub Scouts last fall. So I think we're just getting into a generic Scout, not Boy Scouts, not Girl Scouts, just kind of what gender neutral Scouts or whatever. I don't know, but. Yeah, it's well, I don't know. I don't know. There's some things that just are, you look at the Boy Scout motto and you look at their creed and all that. If that isn't to build good people, I don't know what is.
That's exactly right.
But I don't know. We've got all these folks that think, well, gee, I feel bad for the girls can't be in the Boy Scouts and the boys can't be in the Girl Scouts. What's the deal?
That's right. In some ways, we're headed right back to the Stone Age, okay? Because everybody was equal, because it's just survival of the fittest, right?
That would be
what I
it.
mean? It's like, if you're hungry, go find your own food, right?
That's right. Not sharing mine.
Yeah, but I get mine. It's one of those things you look at and you go, wow, the traditions are so established, but here we go.
Yep. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 5 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2019. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shaman Taubin, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia, my co-host. And you're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And I was just looking up, Shane, we finally got the 5 mascot names.
Oh, did you really?
They whittled it down to 5 mascot names, all lame, I might add. We've got the Mountaineers, the Osprey, the Rams, the Raptors, and they felt the need to put dinosaurs in parentheses after Raptors for those who've never seen any of the Jurassic Park movies, I guess. And the Timberwolves. So those are the 5 choices. And if you want to vote on those, you can go over to bsd7.org. bsd7.org is the public school website, bsd7.org. Scroll down the page, and on the right-hand side, you'll see Gallatin High School colors and mascot suggestions. Click on that, and they will give you a place to vote or put your 2 cents in or whatever. So I don't know. So anyway, now colors, who knows? Colors
right.
maybe next. So we're depending on what they are. I don't know. We'll see what the what the powers that be think the colors of Osprey should be.
That's right. Well, and the problem you have with using the word Osprey, even though it's a bird, you know.
Yeah.
But the fact is it's also the Marine major lift helicopter now, right? The Osprey with the reverse, the reverse engines. With the big wings that turn up and lift up. And carry all the troops to replace the Chinooks. So it's got military context, but you're a military state, so there you go.
Well, okay. Well, why not the pilots then, or the jet, or the Blackhawks?
337.
Yeah, 330. Yeah. X337 is what we should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Crash on takeoff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Oh my God, I don't know. Well, our poll question of the day: should prisoners be allowed to vote? Should prisoners be allowed to vote? Go to KMMSAM.com and vote, or go to our website or our cell phone. I'll get it in a minute. AM 1450 KMMS, AM 1450 KMMS, and vote over there as well, or on our website at KMMSAM.com. So, what do you think, Shane? Should prisoners be allowed to vote?
Nope. If you go to prison for any kind of crime for any period of time, you're giving up all your rights. You don't get to go to prison with a gun.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
I don't
No
think
Second Amendment. I don't think you have any. I don't think you have any First Amendment rights.
Yeah, you have no first, second, third. You've given all those rights up. So the right to vote is one you've given up, and they all say it's a right. It's really not. To me, everything in this life today is a privilege.
Yeah,
because you have to work for it. If it's a right, it's not something you have to work for.
That's true.
Which is one of the reasons I consider myself socially responsible, but a conservative financially.
Okay. Well, there we are.
There you are. So
works for me.
It works for me because, I like to work. I've always enjoyed working.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
I was doing stuff to make money when I was 8 years old. Why not?
Why not? Yeah. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Hey, I think that you guys should think a little bit past the context. Prisoners have the right to vote.
Okay.
Oh, past why?
Why? Because who is it coming from? Sanders.
Who's the right
Sanders?
Coming from?
No. This is all originated from the Democratic Party looking for votes.
Oh, okay. I got you now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, we mentioned that earlier, and I think you're right.
Sanders. He's a flat-out communist.
All right.
Yep. So now, of course, he can't get the average person to vote for him.
No.
So therefore, he is going to try to get any votes he can. So if he could get people to feel sorry for the criminals who are incarcerated, therefore, he's going to get their vote.
All right, I got to go. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right, we'll be back with the 5 things you need to know right after this. 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2019, 34 degrees outside. Tommy Goff, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Montalban on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. You're listening to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. And from our text line, Shane, 478-8298. With all respect, I think you're being naive if you think that pollution study was scientific. The ALA has an agenda, an F. So that may be true. I don't know, We do have
their agenda is raising more money, so
that
they don't have to
go
find another job. That's what it is.
That's probably the reason. That may be the reason. So
you got it.
All right. Also from our text line, 478-8298, voting Mountaineers would be in honor of Sergeant Atkins, so vote Mountaineers. All right.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea there. So. All right, Shane, 5 things you need to know. I guess the number one thing, Biden says he's going to run. So we weren't sure if he was or not, but looks like he's going to throw his hat in the ring for the 3rd time.
I know, but his birthday is November 20th. He's 76 years old.
Yeah.
So, he'll be 77 this year, 78 next year with the election, right?
Yep.
So by the time he takes office, he'll be 79. Really? Obviously, the oldest president of the United States, if he were to be elected. I think it's a big failure on his part because I think he's got too many issues. We've covered them. So, but I thought I said he wouldn't run, but now here he is.
Well, the big thing that will determine this, Shane, is he's got to raise a big amount of money in 24 hours. And I think that's why he delayed his announcement a day.
Yeah, we used to say something different, but now it's boatload, right? Because it's so much. He's got to raise a boatload. And you notice with this announcement today, no mention of how much money he has because from everything I've read, none. He doesn't have any.
Yeah. That's the thing, and he was reportedly stressed the importance of notching strong fundraising numbers in the first 24 hours, like Beto O'Rourke did. He raised $6 million in 24 hours, and Pete Buttigieg raised a big amount and went up to like 3rd place, I think. In those
Uncle Bernie did well.
Bernie did well as well. So it's going to be critical as to how much he can raise quickly. And there's no question he has the contacts to do it with. But are they on his page? Or are they on AOC's page? That's the question. Yeah.
Bottom line, baby. Money.
Right. Yep. Let's take a call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I can't count to 6 million.
Yeah, I know. Well, not in a day anyway, huh?
You count to
It's money, 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 isn't it? Isn't it, Glenn?
it really is. No, there's something that's been kind of bothering me here lately, and maybe we can discuss it a little bit. And that's that Montana ID card.
Yeah.
That's kind of bugged me because our state legislature voted it down. And now the federal government has come in here and said, you shall have this. Now, what did we have to do to accept this?
What we had to do, as I understand it, is that once you went down to have your driver's license and all of that, your picture made and everything like that, over a period of time, they would not keep those records. They would just destroy them until the next time you came in. Now we have to keep all of the records of the DMV, all your license registrations and all of that has to be kept somewhere. It has to be kept by someone.
Well,
and there's a cost involved in that. And the legislature back when didn't want to do that cost. But, they've, I guess apparently they've worked it out with the, with the powers that be. And in October, we're going to have, you can go down and get your ID will work, normal places other than going into federal buildings or flying on an airplane.
Well, they got guards at federal building now, as you know, in here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They got a Social Security office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing I'm getting at here is the federal government overruled the state and overruled our rights as a state. When they said we had to have that,
yeah,
fair to me, was an overriding on states' rights. And they must have had to threaten us with money or else.
Well, I think they threatened us with the fact you won't be able to fly on a plane, you won't be able to go into federal government buildings and things like that, and there's going to be places where you won't be, where you have to produce an ID, you won't have access to that property anymore.
Well, Hitler did the same damn thing.
Yeah.
If anybody reads history, that's exactly what he did. The thing that's bothered me is why we give up so much.
Yeah. Is
it because of terrorism?
Well, that's part of it. I think the identification and keeping records was part of the, the green cards, the IDs of the hijackers, and all of that. That's part of it. The real ID Act. It isn't that they're keeping your information in a strip on your license or something. They just put a star up in the corner that, Montana is complying with keeping the records of who you are.
Here's the next bad thing about it. As far as I'm concerned, you got to pay for it.
Well, yeah, you got to do that. I read that too. That's kind of a, if you're going to fly, yeah, I think it's like $60 or something. I forget what it was exactly, but yeah, you got to go down and pay for a new license.
Yeah, and that's not right, Tom and Shane. I mean, my God, when our legislature comes out in the state and says no to the real ID, comes back and, that there says something to me that is a no-no.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess I would contact Tim Fox's office and see if anybody there wants to help you out with who's forcing this on us or why. And, what the recourse is. Well, you don't have to have a real ID, Clint. You don't have to go down and get one. But if you're going to get on an airplane you got to have a passport or a real ID. I'd go get a passport and just be done with it.
I have a.
Well, if you got a passport, then you're home free. You can,
but see that.
Yeah, I think I'm losing you here and there. Are you there? No, I think we lost you, Clint. I'm sorry. All right. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air. What's up? Hello. Okay.
No call.
Okay, maybe not. All right. Well, call back, Clint.
Yeah, exactly.
We lost you for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe the Russians are after our phone system too.
Of course they are.
Of course
yeah.
they are.
Yeah. If not them, then the National Security Agency.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, the real ID, we just, in fact, I got a thing about that from the Fox's office the other day about it, that it's, we're now compliant according to the Attorney General's office. So.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to me because, we have this in Canada. And so, you get your picture on your driver's license, you get your picture on your medical card.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why you shouldn't get your picture on your social insurance card. They just go in, make up one like your driver's license, your medical card. Yeah. They have all the equipment, they have all the experience. Take your picture, put it on, mail it to you. Now you've got, picture ID for voting and for work. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Clint's back with us, I think. Clint, sorry, you were breaking up there, man. I lost you.
Well, I'm lost anyway. Yeah, God, to live in this country, to live in this country today, and what it was when I was a young man, it's foreign to me. And the reason I say that, I go to Bozeman, I go shopping. I used to be able to see people that I knew.
Yep.
There's nobody I know anymore. People are rude as hell. I don't understand it. But then when it comes to our state, like we were talking about the Real ID Act, when our federal government comes in here and says, you will do this or else, that's tyranny.
Well, I think so. They held up highway funds if we didn't go to 55 miles an hour, and I thought that was unconstitutional. I don't think they have the right to come in here and tell us what our speed limit is.
That's absolutely.
I never believed that. And the same with the census. If I don't want to fill out the census, the full form, I'm happy to tell them there's 2 people live in my house, one man, one woman, a couple dogs, and that's it. That's all you need to know.
Well, you guys are lucky. Today it takes you 3 days to get across your state. 100 years ago in a wagon took you a month and a half.
Well, it's the census form that I looked at it. Boy, I'll tell you, it's none of their damn business other than there's 2 people in my house, me and my wife.
Yeah, everything on that census form is for entitlements, for stuff that's gonna take it right out of your paycheck and give it to somebody for some reason that government determines that they need it more than you do.
That's absolutely right. Well, the thing about it is, it's like I've said at the legislature a couple of times in different of the committee meetings. I've said, what happened? I got thrown out one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this woman from Billings threw me out because I asked him, what happened to states' rights?
Yeah.
Yeah. I says, where is the right of the state? Says, don't we count? In whatever we're doing. The government is overstepping its bounds.
Yep, I'd agree. You don't get an argument here, so.
Well, I'll tell you, Shane, what do you think? Is your government in Canada overstepping their bounds?
Worse.
Worse all the time. Almost everything they do is government controlled.
Well, or a monopoly. If it's not government controlled, it's a monopoly. Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do about it? Vote?
Well, that's about all we can do. Find people.
We don't even protest.
Yeah. I got to go, Clint. I got another call waiting. I got to take a break. Thanks for the call. All right. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air. What's going on?
Morning, Thomas, Chair.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm excellent.
Good.
Clint, keep your powder dry, buddy. It's coming around. It's coming around. Look what's going on down on our southern border now. It's coming. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to get out of this any other way than a civil war, unfortunately. So
yeah.
Hey, Tom, I told Shane, I'm a little disappointed you guys missed out on Hillary and what she had to say here earlier.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, we did. We got involved yesterday.
You guys gave her a pass, man. Come on. I mean,
I can't believe what she did last night. I mean, she out and out challenged Trump to come after her.
Yeah.
That's what she did.
Yeah.
I
she just
so
blatantly. Yeah. She blatantly said, "Come after me."
I hope
make me the villain. Yeah. Make me the villain.
And I was just sitting there with my mouth wide open.
Yeah.
Going, I can't believe she's saying that.
Yeah, any other American that had these kind of charges, well, honey, what you got?
Any of the three of us would be in jail right now.
You got a mirror handy or what?
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day.
Hey, thanks a lot. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. 22 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2019. The God Squad will be in here at 8 o'clock. We'll see what they've got on their mind. Shane Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And you're listening to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. And from our text line, Shane, since we have a school board election coming up, would it be possible to have the candidates on your show? Well, we can sure ask them if they would appear on the show, and we'll be happy to get them in here and see what their thoughts are on education in Bozeman. If Schweitzer didn't fight the real ID, we would have been compliant years ago. And he was a very vocal opponent to it because there was a lot of misunderstanding about it, I think, at the time, Shane. I think they were they were going to put RFID chips in us and all of that stuff, and they'd know where we were every minute of the day, and all that stuff kind of went by the wayside, and it was nothing more than just a record keeping of your information somewhere. So.
Well, yeah, but on the other hand, it's also a concern of the Democrats for people in individual states to find out how many illegal immigrants that they are supporting.
Well,
with their tax. So that's the biggest thing to me.
Well, I would agree with that. So let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, guys. It seems to me like we lost all our states' rights when the senators became elected by the majority, right?
Yeah, I probably would agree with that, I think.
Right, and that's why we did that, was that we would lose our states' rights. We wouldn't have any ability to, you know what I mean? So it's, that's why everybody's kind of getting on this page that, either secession or civil war, something like that's going to end up happening, because there is really, they say you turn around a battleship or what, it takes miles to turn around a big ship. There's no turning this around.
No.
This
not particularly. Yeah.
No, this monstrosity is lumbering forward. It's got too much momentum now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this is all designed by the left. It's funny. The Boy Scouts used to be a conservative group. Christians ran it. It was a good, wholesome thing. And then they let the homos in there. And all of a sudden, kids getting raped. And we need transgenders in here and blah, blah. And all this stupid stuff that goes totally against the Boy Scouts. And now they're going bankrupt. Look at the NFL. As soon as the left, the communists get in there, they start danking with that. Now, real Americans don't want to watch it anymore. So that's kind of what they do. They infect things and corrupt them and destroy them. That's what they're doing to this country, it seems like. But that's
well, as we've always said, everybody's fighting for which victim group they're gonna they're gonna get on to, and how can you be against the poor or the downtrodden or the discriminated against or the whatever they are? I mean, come on, where's your compassion? It just doesn't work.
It's like the redheaded stepchild, the only person that doesn't have an advocacy group now.
Redheaded stepchild.
So you guys be good.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
That was great.
Well, I'm redheaded, but not a stepchild. But
I hope not. Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't know.
But on this side of the border, we call them gingers.
Yeah.
So
oh, that's right. Oh, gingers. Oh, geez. I'm sorry. I can't be a ginger unless it's Ginger Baker, the drummer for the Cream.
Ooh, very
so
good.
now I'll go for that.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'll go for that. But otherwise, no ginger for me. So. But yeah, we'll work on the school board election. We'll see if we can round up some folks, see who might be willing to come in and talk about it and what their thoughts are on the school board, why they're running, what their thoughts are. So that would be a good one. So, Well, continuing on the 5 things we just talked about Biden, and I think it does come down to him getting a lot of money today. He's going to have to get some money today. If he doesn't make a good showing in contributions, it's going to be tough for him to go very far.
Well, the fascinating thing is, the way the media keeps shifting all these leaders in the party with 22 now, running for president.
Right. Yeah.
So what it really is going to come down to is the debates, because whoever gets slammed in the debates is going to be, or whoever sticks out, so to speak.
Well, that's what happened with the Republicans. Going in, everybody thought Jeb Bush was a shoo-in, but boy. He found himself so far off the edge of the panel that he was nearly in the parking lot by the time they got to question him about anything. So
I like the way that Trump during that debate leaned over and looked down to try and see.
Where is he?
Where are you?
I need my binoculars to to see Jeb. So and of course. His nickname's Low Energy Jeb, Lion, whatever. So those stuck, man. Those things stuck, and they really did. And that's how you win elections, I guess. And nobody's ever done that. Nobody's called people out or called them names or whatever. So I don't know if it's smart politics or not, but it certainly worked for Trump. So I guess we'll see if how that plays out. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Deutsche Bank. Reportedly, they're going to turn over Trump's loan documents. Shane, so what do you think? That's going to be a deal to talk about. And what do they have that Cummings wants and Schiff wants and Maxine wants and all these other people want? So Nadler be the other one, the Gang of Four. All right, we got to pay a couple of bills, duck out of here. We've got Fox, we got Montana State News. We got Britt Foster weather. We got another Noxatrill in there. So Noxatrill will be after Britt Foster weather if you need to turn the radio down or something, if you got kids running around or whatever. So it is school time. And also when we come back, Shane will give us a little market wrap-up since the markets are going to open here. Big news for Facebook yesterday. Wow. They killed it. So,
they did. They got in trouble.
And Tesla went south. We'll be right back. 25 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, April 25th, 2019, 40 degrees outside. Beautiful day out there. Looks like it's a little cloudy. Looking through Michelle Wolf's studio over there, two or three studios away from me, putting on her headphones, getting ready to rock and roll over there on the Moose. So we're happy to be here with you this morning. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. Shane Dobbin, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And we are on the KMMS Morning Soapbox. Well, Deutsche Bank has reportedly begun complying with subpoenas from the New York Attorney General for records tied to funding for several Trump Organization projects. So the documents are reportedly related to loans made to President Trump and his company, including ones for the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C., Trump National Doral, Miami, the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago, and the unsuccessful effort to buy the NFL's Buffalo Bills. So a lot of stuff from the bank there. What do you think, Shane? Does this hang the bank out to dry, or does it hang Trump out to dry?
I think it's actually it plays into Trump's hand, because it's not something he divulges, but somebody else, so he can deal with it the way he wants. Excuse me. But the Deutsche Bank is the largest bank in Europe. It's the largest. It's 150 years old. We've gone over the numbers. It's pretty staggering. But they've had huge problems with regulatory people in both Europe and the United States, and they've built, $1.7 billion in 2015 for the Lipper scandal, $7.2 billion for the financial crisis scandal of 2007-8. So, excuse me, they're looking for a free ride on this one to give up the information, and that's why the government of the U.S. is asking for it, because Deutsche Bank does not want to challenge the U.S. government.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So,
yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where all this leads. I don't know about these bankers though, Shane, and particularly banks in Germany, because they're not under the same rules and regulations and regulators that we are here in the United States. And to think they are and that's one reason why sometimes you go overseas too. That's why people use Swiss bank accounts and why they use banks in other countries, because of certain regulations that not necessarily to do something illegal or untoward, but their advantages.
That's right, and the bond market is such an amazing and responsible player in the global market. Deutsche Bank doesn't want to risk its play in that with the United States government as a buyer and seller of U.S. securities, because they could be railroaded out of that group.
Yeah,
there's 38 global banks that participate every week, as we told you, to buy U.S. securities to fund your government. So,
that's what I say. It's in their best interest not to make themselves look bad in any way. So,
that's right. Yeah, exactly.
And if you made a bad loan, you look bad. So,
I don't think there's anything there. There's no there, Tom.
No there. Okay.
No, there's no there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they would have gone. I don't think they would have cooperated if there were anything that's going to fall badly on them.
That's correct.
If they made a bad loan or an incorrect loan or a defaulted loan or any of that, it's going to make them look bad on the world stage, because this will be made public.
And as you well pointed out, with the sizable or the types of, or size of loans that Trump may or may not have with the bank, to have it with a U.S. bank would be more transparent because of the rules. So, it's fair business call. It's a fair business call.
Yeah. So. All right, let's see. Let's take another break, and we come back. Guess what? The NSA is going to stop listening in on your phone calls. How about that?
Sure they are. Yeah, right.
We'll talk about that when we come right back. 17 minutes before the top of the hour, the God Squad will be in here at 8 o'clock. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, and Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing. And it's the morning soapbox with Tom and Shane. And we had a call off the line asking, would you like it if they went into your bank and took your tax records and all of that stuff? Would you be okay with that? And I think, well, I don't know. I don't think I'd be okay with that at all. But I don't know. I think sometimes the government forgets who's the employer and who's the employee.
Employee, that's right. Exactly. Shouldn't we be looking at your bank account?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I don't know. No commas in my bank account.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah. Limited to decimal points.
That's right. Just decimal points. Well, the NSA reportedly recommends ending phone surveillance program since George W. Bush and the 9/11 attacks. Supposedly, the program, which collects data on U.S. phone calls and text messages, was started without a court order. There you go.
There you go.
I guess you can just walk in and listen to your phone call with no court order or anything else. And its existence wasn't known until former intelligence contractor Edward Snowden leaked information to journalists about it in 2013. So after saying for years that the program is a key tool in finding and thwarting terrorism plots, senior NASA officials now believe many logistical and legal issues outweigh any intelligence benefits that they get. So if the White House follows the NSA's recommendation, the program's legal authority will expire in December. So we'll have to keep track of that, I guess, and see if that actually does expire or not. I'm sure that'll be in the news if it does or doesn't. So.
Well, and keep in mind that, it's $11 billion budget, 40,000 employees. They've amassed more employees than even the FBI or the CIA. They're not involved in human espionage like the CIA is offshore and the FBI is onshore. Mm-hmm. They're more intelligence specific with regards to computer and the computer age. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing is run out of the White House under the guise of the Director of National Intelligence. So this gets back to Clapper, who was running it under Obama. So now you know the tie with what's gone on with the hoax and all this other stuff and why this is such a key component in understanding the NSA today, because if there was something that was done that was illegal, it's going to end up in the White House, in the Oval Office. Now, it came out yesterday that the head of the FISA court has reported to the Department of Justice that he has discovered that 4 contracted FBI agents lied to the FISA court between 2012 and 2016 under Obama. So this is all going to turn into a very interesting story. People need to know what the NSA is, how it works, and that's why I just explained what I did.
Well, if this thing goes south in December, what, are 40,000 people out of work?
Well, I don't know.
Or are they?
Yeah, this is.
Or are there 2 deaths in the FBI or somewhere else?
Yeah, no, it's executive agency is the Department of Defense, the parent agency.
Oh, okay.
But
so
the interesting thing about it is FISA, because FISA is going to want to cover itself because of what's happened.
Well, they have to, yeah. I mean,
yeah. Well, because I said, like, they may be cut off at the knees within the next 6 months, but we'll see.
Well, it depends on how far, if Barr takes this anywhere at all, and I'm still leery that any of this is going anywhere with Hillary or anybody else, Shane. I just don't think. I don't think they're going to do it during an election year.
No, but Investigative General Horowitz is investigating it right now. They're waiting for his report. That's what he's investigating, the FISA situation.
I will venture you'll see his report November 2020. Right, the day after Thanksgiving.
We'll see it the third week of May.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. Well, it's going to be inconclusive then. Let's go there then, okay?
Nope. The Three Stooges are all going to be indicted and go to jail.
You think so? All right. Well, we'll see.
And Hillary challenged Trump to come after her, so he will now. Now the gloves are off. He will now.
Well, perhaps.
He was trying to be a nice guy. I
don't know. Well. Anyway, Facebook had a big day yesterday, both income and outgo, both of them.
It was pretty amazing. They got whacked now, and as we know, they're dealing with and negotiating with the government for a $5 billion fine with regards to the Federal Trade Commission with regards to the Cambridge Analytical scandal.
Yeah.
And because of all the millions of their people that lost personal information, and because of a document they signed back in 2011, they breached. So, the stock took a hit. It's doing better today, 182, only down $1.20. But it's going to be interesting because the global reach and the desire for these social networks to have government get involved may be something they wish they hadn't bothered asking about.
Yeah,
Apple's down to 207. It's down 32 cents. Alphabet, which is Google, is at 12.56, and Twitter's at 39.29 down. But the general market is looking pretty good, right?
Yeah. I show Facebook 195 up 1309.
Okay, let me look at mine.
Yeah. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a 182.58, but I should maybe update mine and check and see what it comes. You're right. 196.19.
Okay.
So,
I was gonna say, the wife's excited. She just messaged me on Facebook that, have you seen the stock? It was 191, and she was pretty ecstatic. Now it's 196.
Well, it's struggling pretty good to get back to 214. It's high from 124.
Well, that's true. It's not far from 214. It's a lot closer than it was when it was 160.
Yeah, I know, but it's still, 217 is only $10-20 away, and it dropped down to 124. So it's showing some strength. And,
the report was excellent on them, their income and everything else, and even the fact they got the money set aside to pay this fine and move on, I think gives them a leg up. Let's take a quick phone call, and we got to take a break. Caller, you are on the air with Tom and Shane. What's up?
All right, well, I'll do a quick well, let's see.
Not quick so far.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be hard to do quick. Can I wait?
Yeah, Why? I'll put you on hold, put your thoughts together, and we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes, so hang on. 7 minutes for the top of the hour. We've had a caller patiently waiting. So, caller, what's going on?
Well, here's a quick chop resume so you guys can do a job on poor Daniel R. Peterson.
Okay.
Now, you do realize that I took economics in college. As a matter of fact, I got an A that year, and that was the year I was on the dean's list because I got A's in most of the courses I took.
Okay.
So I have every right in the world to question the Federal Reserve System and why we have inflation at all, and why we can be satisfied with 2 or 3% unemployment. Why we have unemployment at all, or why we have unemployment at all. So I'm not just drawing my conclusions from out of a hat. The textbook is written from the perspective of the investors because they invest in the textbook companies, and those are theories that send the workers onto the hamster wheel, producing more but getting less because of this inflation that it produces. So the workers are the ones that are inventing new things and producing new ways of getting more out of the economy, while the investors are sitting back and financing them. So there's some structural weaknesses in the economy looking from the bottom up.
Well, I don't see how. It seems like the workers on the hamster wheel agreed to go on the hamster wheel for a certain price. Is that not right?
Well, yeah, it's all right. But sometimes it's by force.
By force? They're forced to work? Somebody put a gun to somebody's head and make them work in some factory or some store somewhere?
Well, yeah, because that's the only option available. They could become homeless. I've been homeless a couple of times.
Me too. And I tried to find a job.
Well, I just went to Boston for the adventure of it, and I was homeless there.
Yeah. Well, I went to San Diego, and I was homeless there, but that didn't stop me looking for work.
Yeah, well, I wasn't particularly thinking about work.
Yeah.
I was writing poems. One of my poems,
okay. All right.
My work should blend into play as night into day. I didn't see any thing that was going on like that.
Yeah. How's that poetry? How's that poetry pay for food each day and gas for the car and that stuff?
Paid for soul satisfaction.
Okay. Well, good.
I made
all right.
it this far with. I get a Social Security check of $550, but I can manage. I've always lived as a minimalist.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're happy with your life, clap your hands. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, I'll also do some physical manual labor during the summer. I've invested in some garden tools, so already the clients are calling me. So
okay,
if my 75-year-old body can hold up, I'm happy to utilize it as a tool.
Well, good for you. It's good exercise, and you'll see a result from your work.
All right,
that's a good thing.
And make sure you get paid in cash so you don't report it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do pay taxes. I paid since the 50s.
All right.
So and 5 times that I haven't paid the taxes.
Well, good for you then. See, you're a good American, a patriot.
Yeah. Well, also, I'm not going to feed that war machine that I saw. Still maim and overturn for regime change.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're I'm not sure we're changing any regime today unless it's Assad.
Yeah.
About the only one, I think. So.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Trump has been pretty gentle with.
Or Venezuela, Tom, your favorite place.
Well, that's true. Venezuela, yeah, we got to do something about them. I mean, they finally let food in there at least.
Talk about people. Inflation. You'd think it'd drive this guy crazy.
Man, yeah,
inflation,
yeah. 1.69 million inflation percent. I think the last time I checked. So, yeah, inflation's got some real inflation problems, but Venezuela does.
Yeah. How about the one in South Africa there? What is the one with the great inflation next to the country of South Africa?
Mozambique.
Mozambique?
Yeah. No. Well, anyway, they were the champion inflation, and they survived.
Yep.
You could buy a ranch-style house with a nice brick garage for the same amount of money 10, 15 years later that you could buy one brick for. That was a champion inflation country of modern history.
All right.
Well, both socialist countries, Mugabe in Africa, and well, we know the fellow in Venezuela, so we can pass that by. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Hey, thanks for the call, Daniel. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, we got the God Squad coming in at 8 o'clock. I'll get it in a minute. Such a rhyming, cool name, for these folks. So we'll have them on shortly, and we'll be talking about, who knows what. We'll ask them if they have a topic. I know they don't want me to pick the topics for them anymore, but we'll hopefully they come in with something. So, all right, we got a Doug Anner, pay a couple bills, and we've got... believe it or not, we got Fox News at the top of the hour. We got the Montana State News is back. Brooke Foster with the weather. Holy mackerel. It's just like old times. I'm excited. So, Shane, stay tuned.
All right, buddy.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2019, 44 degrees outside. Shane Matavin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing. And Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. You're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And we've got the God Squad in attendance this morning. How's everybody doing? We got
good morning.
We got Pastor Jody here. We've got Father Leo, and we've got also Rabbi Ed is running in. And
good morning, Tom.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Doing well, thank you.
All right. Well, I think the big news of the past weeks have been the secular violence around the country, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Pittsburgh, you name it. Every group has been hit, I think, in some way or another. And so I guess the question is is it just a total misunderstanding of what each person's beliefs are, or is it that it's my way or the highway? I'm not going to tolerate your views because they're different from mine, and I'm going to stop you wherever I can. And in some cases, well, if you shoot up my mosque, then I'm going to shoot up your Christian church or your synagogue or whatever. So, we've got a lot of minds out there that aren't functioning as they should, I think. So I thought we might explore that topic today and maybe get some of your opinions as to is there an answer to this? Is there a the fact that you all get together here is an expression of your tolerance of each other, although you don't believe exactly the same things, but pretty much, you believe in God, and, you believe there's a higher power that we believe in, and it makes us the people we are.
Yeah.
And I just might want to add, they all believe in the same human prophets.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
I think, just in terms of how you sort of set up the question, it's all of those things. It's our ignorance of one another,
right,
and our traditions, I think, sometimes. And that's, at least relatively easy to fix if people are willing to study one another's religious traditions. But what I find really interesting, having taught world religions at the college level, is that in most cases, almost every religious tradition at some point has had a group that develops the idea that there is only one truth.
Mm-hmm.
And if we've got it, then that means everybody else doesn't have it, which means they are the infidels or they're stubborn, wrong, and they either have to be converted or gotten rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow or other, that seems to have developed in virtually every religious tradition at some point. The older the traditions get, the more they begin to understand one another, at least a little bit. And I think that's the main secret of it. What exactly we can do about this, I'm not particularly sure.
Mm-hmm.
Having had a huge loss in my tradition, the churches that were attacked in Sri Lanka were Catholic churches,
right?
And most of the victims were Catholics. That it's just it's an unbelievable kind of thing at first, but then at least you try to understand this. But it's a matter of rethinking the whole idea, I think, of what truth is and who has it and who doesn't have it. And if you have it or you don't have it, what does that mean? And, we have a lot of work to do, to say the least. But I think that's one of the central issues, is the idea that for most people, when they believe something, there is no openness to the possibility that there might be more to it than they believe, or that people who don't believe the way they believe are no good. I mean, it's like, for some reason, that just seems to be a direction that many people take. Not everybody, by any means, but that's one direction that people take. So that's at least a place I would start.
Well, and I think the other thing that this evolves into is that almost all religions, I think, at least in the United States, from numbers I've seen, is that religious attendance is going down. That people aren't going to church like they did in the 40s or 50s or 60s or whatever. We seem to get too busy. We've got kids. We got all these things, and it seems like faith has kind of gone out the window, and we're kind of operating on our own day to day, paycheck to paycheck or whatever, and we fail to see the value of that reinforcement of that faith reinforcement that keeps us going for another week or 2 days, or depending on how often you attend.
So yes, our society is becoming much more secular, but one of the things that confuses me and puzzles me is that this identification of religious ideology with violence, that so often the cultural and other aspects of life, that the division between people is, the religion is one of the ways that people are divided, but it's also culture and politics and ethnicity, and so say in Sri Lanka, the divisions between the various religions are aligned with their social group and maybe even their language that they speak. So it's sectarian violence is what we're seeing so much of.
Yeah. Well, one of the things in America is we have so many different people here from all over the world. If you go to Sweden, most people there are Swedes. If you go to Norway, most people there are Norwegian. So it's easier for them to group and create a faith that everybody kind of agrees with, or at least the majority of people agree with. Where here in America, we have people from all over the world that have different cultures, different backgrounds, and all of that. And
but that's all based. Excuse me. That's all based on the premise that our fundamental our foundational belief in terms of this country is that everybody is entitled to what they want to believe.
Right. Yeah. It's our First Amendment.
I mean, that's what I think is what draws so many people. But I would sort of echo what Pastor Jody was saying, that it is amazing that in the last, say, the last 20 years or so, there has become this hardening to your own tradition as versus anybody else's and everybody else. Now, I mean, there's some levels of that,
Yeah.
I had when I was growing up, there was a neighbor lady who lived across the street from us, and she used to. She and my mother had a wonderful relationship. They would talk over the fence, over things, but inevitably she would remind my mother that she was probably going to go to hell because she was a Catholic.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it was like, but it was almost said in fun or not with the kind of the sharp level of almost hatred that seems to have developed. So I think we still have the best possibility of being able to show the world that completely different traditions, completely different beliefs, completely different ethnic groups, et cetera, can, in fact, get along with each other.
Yeah.
And now we're not doing that very well, but, I still think we have that possibility.
Yeah. Well, the other thing it goes back to, too, if you want to go back to 9/11, we were attacked for a religious ideal. Misdirected, I believe, but still, somebody sat somewhere and said, okay, the Americans are bad guys. What can we do to them to really bring them down? They came into our land and, uninvited and whatever. So I think those are some of the things that, they didn't say, well, let's go sit down with them and talk. Why are you in our land and let's get you out of our land? Rather than sit down at a table, well, let's fly some planes and, let's kill as many people as we can. And that, I think, is part of our problem is that we don't even want to talk. Our beliefs are our beliefs, and that's it. I mean, you're going to hell because you're a Catholic.
And we don't have to talk about it.
No. So,
well, I think that part of that has to do with the kind of the philosophical change. Most people don't believe that philosophy has much to do with anything.
Right.
But I think it has most to do with everything.
Yeah.
How we think and what we believe is part of the philosophical understanding. And today, our understanding, our where we're headed and have been for a long time is this individualism and relativism that says, I am in charge of my world. I can decide what I'm going to believe, and it doesn't matter. Facts are sort of irrelevant.
Yeah.
I can believe anything I want, and I can fight you to the death over it. And it's like, that's the philosophical foundation that has the whole world in an uproar right now, at least as I see it.
Yeah. We got to take a quick break. We're talking with Rabbi Ed, who's strangely silent this week.
Oh, I've got a lot to say. I've been waiting my turn patiently.
Okay. Father Leo's in the house.
It'll be on first.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get with Rabbi Ed when we come back. And Father Leo's in the house. Pastor Jody's in the house. From our text line, let's see. What happened to the Muslim preacher who used to come in? Is he...
he's out of town today.
Okay, he's out of town today. Okay, we're asking because that would have been good to have him here for this discussion.
Yeah, actually, he wrote a column about this that will appear in this Sunday's religion column in the Chronicle. So.
Okay, all right, we'll have people directed over there then. Okay, all right, we'll be right back right after these important words. So stay tuned. All right, it is 21 minutes after the hour. It is Thursday, April 25th, 2019. The God Squad is in the house. Rabbi Ed is here. Father Leo's here. Pastor Jody is here. And Ed has been, I don't think I've ever heard Ed be silent for 15 minutes in my life. And that's, like I say, I've been doing this forever, but... Ed, what's up? Come on.
Well, I wanted to chime in with, first of all, I agree with Father Leo, about the fundamental issue here. In truth, there are only really two religions. One that believes that they know God and God's will, and that any religion that disagrees is wrong at best and the enemy at worst. And the other believes that it knows God and God's will, but that they do so through their own cultural and historic lenses. So we can get together because we all share this idea about God. But at the same time, we understand that we're, as humans, interpreting God's will through our own historical and cultural lenses. And that, therefore, through a different historical or cultural lens, God can look different, and that's okay, right? But if yours is the only cultural lens, if God tells you that homosexuals must be stoned, or that Christians must be murdered, or that Muslims must be murdered because they're infidels, and that's the God-given truth. If that's your God, we're in trouble, and that's the God that's taken over a good part of the religious world. And when you ask why so many people are leaving religion, it's that God has been co-opted and managed to be identified with religion, and people are disgusted with it. And rather than say there's another God, they just leave. The one God is the kind of God, the progressive God, the God who progressives believe in, is the kind of God we talk about at the campfire when we wonder what's the meaning of it all. Why are we here? Who created the world? But the other God, this is the God of the Crusaders and the jihadists and the inquisitors, misogynists and homophobes. Right, this is the God who is not the God of the campfire late at night, wondering what life is about. But this is the God we talk about when we stand around the burning pyre, hurling stones and abuses at the heretics being grilled there. And so we've come down to these two different ideas of God, and when God is simply a way to justify your political interests or your economic agenda or your personal hatreds, we're in trouble. And for a good portion of the world, that's who God has become, for a good portion of religious people. And I said during the break, when Franklin Graham attacks Mayor Pete today and says he better repent or he's going to hell, that's the kind of God that leads to these kind of abuses. Now, if Franklin Graham wants to believe that homosexuality is a sin, that's his prerogative. If that's how he understands God's will through his cultural and historic lens, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But he also has to understand that for other people who don't share that cultural and historic lens, it's not a sin. So nobody's asking Franklin Graham to be homosexual or to have homosexuals in his church. But when he attacks other people for it, this is just a small version of the bigger problem, right? And I think that's where we are, of I'm right, and therefore you must be wrong. And so long as religion gets stuck in that mold, it's the end of religion, and perhaps the end of the world. And the last thing I want to add here is that we all have responsibility to call out our co-religionists who are responsible for this. And, we want to think that it's just a small band of extremists. And for sure, there are a small band of extremists who do things like we've been talking about, but it's more than that. In Saudi Arabia, it's illegal to practice any religion other than Islam. In Judaism, if you're not Jewish, you're a second-class citizen in Israel. Christians need to ask themselves the question, what is it about Christianity that allowed the Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition to happen? Right? All these are difficult questions which we need to be asking ourselves about our own religions. And the Muslims need to call out the Muslim wrongdoers, whether it be Saudi Arabian government or the jihadists. And the Jews need to call out our own fundamentalists, and the Christians their own. And that makes us all uncomfortable, but that's what we need to do.
Okay. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the air with the God Squad. What's up?
Yeah, that last explanation that God conforms to the cultural... God doesn't conform to the cultural norms. God sets the cultural norms. If you don't toe that, then you picked the wrong side. That's just how it is. And that's my view. Have a good day, guys.
Okay, thanks for the call. From our text line, 478-8298, can anyone tell me when Jews took action against, killed, massacred, terrorized, or forced conversion of any non-Jews when it wasn't self-defense?
Well, yes, actually. It's happened several times. You only get to do that, as a rule, when you have power, right? So the Crusades could happen because the Christians had power in Europe, right? Saudi Arabia could happen because the Muslims have power in Saudi Arabia. In the 1st and 2nd century BC, when the Jews ran Judea at that time, they converted by the sword several neighboring countries. And, of course, today they occupy the Palestinian lands. So it only happens when you have power. And Jews haven't had power that much time, so we're not as guilty as others.
But you are extremely guilty, though. If you don't believe me, ask your mother. All right, let's take another phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Oh yeah, well, hey, don't forget or remember that there's not one religion that condones the marriage of a man and a man together. So I don't see how you can say that not accepting gay men is an issue for Christians.
Okay. Hey, thanks for the call. All right. Anybody want to comment on that?
No, there are Christian religions, Christian denominations, which have come to accept that homosexual relationships in a loving and Christian way can be an expression of Christian love, and my denomination is one of those. We have the opportunity for Christian people who happen to be gay to be married, since it's legal in the state. They can be married in our church.
Okay. Let's go. Let's take one more quick phone call and we got a break. Caller, you on the air?
Yeah, just a quick comment. I love when we start talking about Christianity and refer to the Crusades, which happened over 1,000 years ago, or, things that happened to the Jews, Spanish Inquisition, also back during a time when humanity's bloodlust to control and conquer the world was at its height. We're not really that human beings so much anymore, although we still have those desires within us. So to compare the Christian, community now to, why did we allow something to happen 1,000 years ago? Well, man, there was a lot of evil stuff happening 1,000 years ago by every religion, everywhere.
There you go.
Humanity that does it, and humanity can corrupt any good religion, no matter how great it is.
Gotta go. Hey, thanks.
All right, take care.
Hey, thanks for the call. All right, we'll tackle that when we come back. All right, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. It is 24 minutes for the top of the hour, Thursday, April 25th, 2019, 46 degrees outside. We've got a caller on the phone, so well, maybe not. All right, well, let's see this line. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Good morning. This is Charity.
Hi, Charity.
Hi. So I just wanted to make a comment that if you call out Franklin Graham for having called out Buttigieg for sin, and you equate Franklin Graham in the same ilk as the man who shot up the church in New Zealand, or shot Christchurch anyway, or the Muslim who bombed a church in Sri Lanka, and you're equating them all the same simply because they each have a view of sin, but their view of sin is very different from each other. Then I don't understand how you can use reason or common sense to come to that conclusion.
So,
where sin is concerned in Scripture, God called out the sin of homosexuality through Jewish Scripture, and then later through Christian Scripture, through Jesus himself, through Paul's writings, and the law of God is written on the heart of every man, so every man knows this is true, whether or not he will express it with his lips. And where culture causes a person to revert to their more base instincts or animal instincts of life, they are then in direct conflict with God. And that's all I have to say. Have a good day.
So that's a great point, and I'd love to respond to it if it's okay.
Go for it, sure.
Yeah, so
no, you can't. Just shut up. Of course you can.
I don't mean to equate Franklin Graham with somebody who's going to bomb a mosque or a church, except to say that, so when the caller says God's law is written on our hearts, the Muslim bomber who in Sri Lanka or the Christian bomber in New Zealand are saying the same thing. They said God's law is only Christianity is right, or only Islam is right, and therefore I have to kill everyone else. They understand that as God's law, just like the caller understands God's law about homosexuality. The way I equate them is not that, Franklin Graham hasn't killed anybody. I don't mean to say they're the same, but the idea is that if Franklin Graham, first of all, I think she's wrong about Scripture. If we read Leviticus, I'd love to point out to her that it's not a ban on on consensual love between two men, and nor was Paul's statement. But never mind that. We don't have time for a scriptural argument. If Franklin Graham concludes that that's wrong, that's his prerogative. He can interpret Scripture how he wishes. That's what freedom of religion is about. It's when he condemns somebody who disagrees with him and calls him, says he's going to hell and he's evil because he's like that. That's where the problem is. It's one thing to have your beliefs. That's fine. And I respect people who think that homosexuality is wrong. That's their prerogative. It's when they take that and impose it on somebody who disagrees with them and says, you're evil as a result. It's only a small step from there you should be killed.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's that's the big issue that somehow or other is involved in all of this. It is, yes, each of us, by the wisdom that we have, by the light that we live by, we have to make up our own mind about what we believe and what we don't believe, for sure. The way in which we react to that, however, becomes the issue. And there seems to today be such a direct connection between my being right and my having the right to be violent toward those who don't agree with me, that I think is the real trip in the issue. That's the real click, that somehow or other we have to get to a place that says, I believe that you are wrong, but I do not condemn you either to hell or to anywhere else.
Yeah, we just have a different belief. Yeah.
In our Catholic tradition, we do not accept homosexuality at all. But we say that those folks who are in that place and in that understanding of their own lives are not to be condemned. They're to be welcomed, and we try to figure out how can we live with each other. That Jesus, it seems to me, the first thing Jesus says is to love one another, and that does not mean you love the people who love you back, or you love the people that you like. At least that's not my interpretation, and I don't think it's been the interpretation of the Christian Church since the beginning. We have loved our enemies. Christ himself loved the guys who put him on the cross and killed him.
Yeah,
he forgave them. He didn't condemn them to hell.
Yeah.
So I'm drawn back to something you said earlier, and I think just to start off our whole talk about how we get together and we discover that we actually have a lot in common, despite the differences.
Probably more than we don't.
Way more in common than divides us. And we listen to one another, and we've been doing this together in this community for a dozen years, having regular conversations about our differences and our mostly discovering how much we have in common and learning about the world through by listening and looking at the world through each other's eyes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2019, 46 degrees outside. The God Squad is hard at it, discussing all the issues of the day. We're having a good time here today. We kind of had a caller patiently waiting on the line. Shane's been brainwashing them, so we will. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the air. What's up?
Hi. Well, I just wanted to make some comments about the basis and foundations of religious faith. everybody has a religious faith, but what is it based on? Christians are supposed to base their faith on the Bible, on the Scriptures. Now, the Scriptures are pretty unique in that they've made prophetic predictions that have come true, and that's kind of a self-validating way of saying, hey, this is more than just natural man making up a story. This has got some supernatural influence behind it. And so the Scriptures for themselves say that they're the words of God. And when Christians follow that Scripture, they're following the Old Testament and the New Testament, but the Old Testament was written for the Hebrew people as a national guideline to follow. So they're saying there's some things that they would do, like controlling homosexuality and adultery as the same for that society as a nation. The New Testament was written for Christians as individuals, and that still is very pertinent, but it says, love your enemies, do good to those who despitefully use you. And it does not ever say to kill innocent people. The Ten Commandments say that you shall not commit murder, which is taking an innocent life. So if a Christian ever lives in a way that takes an innocent life, he is living contrary to the foundations of his faith. Now, man can make up all kinds of stories about how Christians have slaughtered people throughout the ages, but it was more political power using the cloak of Christianity to do that, because the Christianity supposedly gave them legitimacy. But they were living contrary to their tenets of their faith when they did that. So you cannot judge Christianity by the ones who lived it poorly. But if you look at Islam, the Quran allows you to kill innocent people, and which is happening around the world right now, especially towards Christians. More than 4,000 have been killed by Islamic in the name of Islam this year alone. And they have been doing it according to the tenets of their faith. So that faith tells them that they are getting brownie points in heaven if they kill an innocent person because they are an infidel. Two very vastly different foundational systems, and you have to judge those religions by those tenets. And if the people live those tenets out correctly, you're going to see a vast difference between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
All right. Comments, anyone?
So I'm sorry that Ruhul Amin is not here to defend his tradition, and I haven't been in so many meetings with him. I think he would argue with her about what the Quran teaches, and assert that the foundation of Islam is peace. Islam means peace.
This is precisely the problem. It's an apple and orange problem. You want to compare your ideal to the other's reality. Right. So the Christian ideal, wonderful, isn't it? We don't do anything wrong, and anybody who does something wrong is not really practicing Christianity, even though they claim they are. But in Islam, it's all evil, right? And they're all killers because they're commanded to kill. And the fact that 99.9% don't, well, they're just not following their religion. One of the things we've learned in our interfaith work is it's very easy to compare your ideal to their reality. But you must always compare ideal to ideal and reality to reality, or you're just part of the problem.
Okay. Well,
ditto.
I think.
I think it you know, again the issue becomes one of our great theologians of the 20th century, Bernard Lonergan, used to talk about. He was always talking about how truth is truth, yes, but the way in which we see truth is through a million different filters. And little by little, one moment at a time, one piece at a time, one filter at a time, we have to walk through those filters to get to what truth is really about. And so it's not a matter of somebody has all the truth. Yes, there is truth, but each of us may have a piece of it. We may have an angle of it. We may have a way of looking at it. But unless we admit that we are looking through filtered eyes, we're gonna get it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I would point out that the Islamic Council of America, every time there's a one of these attacks by a Muslim, condemns it in the most unconditional way, and that's the group of leaders in the Islamic community who represents that community, and it's unanimous. They condemn it. They don't nearly get the press they should, but so the idea that the Quran is causing these extremists to do this, and that's okay when the entire Muslim leadership condemns it, is not based in reality.
Well, isn't it the interpretation of the Quran? If I read something and I want to see something in it that coincides with my belief, I'm going to find it.
And the Bible as well.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't. Yeah.
The caller,
every book.
the caller who mentioned the Leviticus and the verse against homosexuality is 3 verses from "You should not eat shellfish." I wonder if she eats shrimp.
Yeah. So there you are.
So here you go. You want to pick out that particular verse, well, Jesus abolished all of Leviticus, according to some Christians, except for the verse on homosexuality.
So,
right.
Well, I got to take a break and think about that. So, all right, we'll be right back. All right, 5 minutes before the top of the hour. Tom Eagle up, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Matobin on the line, the half man, half amazing. And, we're with the God Squad. We got Rabbi Ed in, Father Leo, Pastor Jody's here. And, we've been going around and around about secular violence and understanding each other, understanding religious points of view, interpretation of our written words, and I don't know if we've got an answer. I think what we need, and I know he listens. God just needs to come down here and straighten this out. I mean, it'd be a simple thing. You come down, you go to the UN, you make a little talk, and we're all done, right?
It says in our sacred Talmud that if you're planting a tree and someone says the Messiah is coming, he's just over the hill there.
Yeah.
Finish planting your tree.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pray for potatoes, but pick up a hoe, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
there's a story. There's a story about God. Jesus comes back to heaven. He sends to heaven, and all the angels are there, and they're all excited. Yay! So what'd you do? What'd you do? I had 12 followers, and one of them betrayed me, one of them denied me, and the other 10 ran away. And they're looking, and everybody's going, "What? So what happened? What are you going to do?" And he said, "Well, I told them to build the kingdom," and they said, "Well, do you have a plan B?" And he said, "No, I don't have a plan B. I trust that they'll get it done."
Yeah.
Now, I think there's something really important about that. I mean, it's a funny little story, but it's like the importance is that Christ, from our perspective of Christianity, Christ gave us the command.
Yeah.
Make this work. Go out and baptize. Go out and preach the good news, and don't worry about the rest of it. Yeah. Well, the early church, people were dying left, right, and center from persecutions, but the church survived.
Yeah,
because people kept moving forward, advancing, and that, for me personally, that's why I do not despair with all of the difficulties that we have and all of the problems that we have. We're living now in this wondrous age, this wondrous season of the year that we call Easter, the Easter season. That Christ is risen, that life is good, that life is coming back in its fullness as spring develops. All of those are part of the plan of God to remind us that what we need to remember in whatever difficulty we're in, whatever darkness we're in, that we have to just keep moving. We don't always solve everything. We don't always get it all straightened out, but we keep moving. Now, that doesn't mean that we just plow through. Sometimes, we have to clear the area. Sometimes we have to work harder than usual. That's okay. That's God's gift to us to work at this.
In every adversity, there's a seed of an equal or greater benefit. One of my favorite sayings. Always worked for me. Let's take another phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the air with the God Squad. What's up?
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
God heard your prayer. It's all lined out in the book of Revelation. Jesus is coming back during his millennial reign. and then he will straighten everything out.
Oh, well, good.
That's all I wanted to say, brother.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. All right. Well, second coming has been promised someday, so why not? Why not this week? I'm not doing anything. So I guess we'll see, huh? Well, listen, I want to thank all of you for being here. We're out of time here. It's been a great discussion. Always a pleasure to have you guys in here and talk about the the differences and the similarities between us and how we can more understand each other maybe a little better and hopefully go out and do good by our fellow man.
Yeah, thanks, Tom, for giving us a chance to build a little peace in the world.
Well, sure.
Yeah, it's always good to be with you, Tom.
Yeah, well, thank you much. All right, we appreciate it very much. So, thanks again. Thanks, Shane, for being with me, man.
Thank you, Mayor. Everybody, be safe. We'll talk tomorrow in the AM.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow, Shane. Thanks a lot for being here. All right, and
any word on the permanent position?
I have an interview at 10 o'clock. So we'll see. So I don't know. We'll find out how that.
You mean they have to interview you? They don't know what you're about at this point
I
in time?
don't know. I mean, it should be a slam dunk, but I don't know. Well, I think to be fair, I don't know, something about fairness. I don't know.
You have to. If you don't get the job, but there's one thing you're missing, and that's you're not loony enough.
Oh, that's probably it. Yeah. Well, I'll work on that. I'll work on that. Thanks, guys. All right. We'll see everybody bright and early 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.